Hey y'all, it's your girl Angie, and I'm back for some more Ready to Love talk. It's this show on YouTube. It's called Let's Get Crystal Clear. I first talked to y'all when she did an interview with Reva a few weeks ago, and now I guess Tondy and Brent want to turn to talk to Crystal and make things crystal clear. So let's jump into these interviews. First, I want to thank everyone for all the support on YouTube, all of the new subscribers. I want to say thank you. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I truly appreciate all the love everyone's giving on social media and on YouTube. Two, you all know I still haven't got my contacts, but I tried this new makeup palette, the mini palette by Juvia, the chocolates, and I really like my eyeshadow today, so I'm gonna struggle with my notes because I don't want to wear my glasses. I know, vain, but forgive me. So the first thing I want to say about these interviews, off top, I felt Tondy and Brent didn't have to do these interviews. Like, to me, they weren't on an image cleanup tour. They weren't on an apology tour. They really didn't have to explain themselves, but I guess everyone gets social media feedback and hate, which is awful, but I guess it was some things that they felt people were throwing darts their way on social media and they wanted to clear up, and they just wanted to give their sides of the story, especially Tondy wanted to clear up some things that Reva said in her interview. I'm going to start with Brent because his was the least interesting. Tondy's was a little bit more juicy, so I'm going to start with Brent. From the beginning, Crystal looked like the whole interview she wanted to say, Brent, what's up? Like, you fine, you single, what's up? The whole maybe first 3 minutes of the interview with Brent, she called him Silver Daddy because of his hair. Now, we all can see Brent is very cute, sexy, with the salt and pepper hair. I think he was a little bit offended by being called the Silver Daddy because he said he liked to be called the salt and pepper daddy. Brent is silver. Who cares? You still fine. But the whole first 3 minutes of the interview was kind of like Crystal shooting her shot to me. But let's move along. Brent, she started off by saying, Brent, why are you single? Why do you feel the need to be on the show? Brent, let me tell you first off, a lot of Brent's responses were the same throughout the interview. And with this interview, I can see Brent just has a very monotone personality. Like, every response didn't have any levels. Everything was very like that. And so I can see why the ladies were kind of like, Brent won't open up. He didn't really open up in this interview, but let's hurry up and get through it. He said he had just got out of a situation, like most people probably did. He was single at the time of the show, and he wanted to try something different. That's usually what everyone said. He said from the beginning of the show, he was focused on Alexis, but we all saw how that kind of went down, and then it came back up. Now, a good question that the host asked that I thought was a good question to ask, not just to Brent, but to a lot of the fellas, because it's an honest question that deserved an honest answer. She asked about colorism. She did not accuse Brent of being a colorist. She did not accuse any of the fellas being a colorist. But Brent did say in the interview the only two people he was really interested in was Alexis and Divine. And a lot of the men at the beginning of the show gravitated towards Alexis and Divine. They're beautiful. She wanted to know, was it any kind of, like, just off top, was it because they were light-skinned? She didn't accuse him of being colorist, but she did bring up the issue because of how it may look that a lot of the guys were so drawn to Alexis and so drawn to Divine. And she just wanted to know if it had anything to do with them being light-skinned, which I don't believe they were the only two light-skinned people on the show, so I don't know how fair that question was. But I want it to be valid because some people did bring that up. So it's a valid question. He gave it a very PC answer, like, what did he say? He said he did not have a preference. He does not have a type, and he's not colorist. He really did not dig into that question, but I did appreciate her for at least asking the question, because it's valid. I understand where it comes from, and I understand how it looks, how people say black men are always in. This is not a statement of truth. It's just things that people have said, so don't act like you haven't heard it before. But black men are drawn to exotic looking women or light-skinned women, which, I mean, I just thought it was a valid question, and I was kind of shocked she asked it, but he really didn't answer it. He was very PC. Next, he was talking about why he was so drawn to Alexis, and he called himself a sapiosexual. I've never heard of that. I didn't take time to look it up, but he says that's when you're sexually attracted to someone's mind and their conversation. And that's what attracted Brent to Alexis. He said it was not seen on the show, but much off camera, they would talk on the phone for hours. Okay. Now, mind you, I listen to a lot of these interviews while I'm at work. I am working, but I listen to them kind of like a podcast with my earbuds. And at some point, I wrote down in my notes, I lost interest, because if what people aren't saying isn't memorable, as I'm working, it turns into white noise. So a lot of Brent's interview turned into white noise. So if I skip something, that's because he wasn't interesting. Where he picked back up, he said something about the women being conscious of letting a man be a man. Okay, he was talking about Alexis again. No, that's the conversation turned into Aisha, and he said he was trying to defend the aggressive comment again, and he said sometimes women need to be conscious of letting a man be a man. He said he felt like it was okay for Aisha to put her bait out there, like to say, yes, I'm interested, come get me. But he said she did not allow the men, himself and others, to come to the bait. Like, she just kept throwing herself out there. And I said, in other words, you're saying she was being aggressive. But then he did say he was happy for Aisha. So, I mean, Aisha won out of all of them. She found true love, and she's now engaged. Congratulations, girl. He didn't have to say nothing else about Aisha. Okay, so now, let me not get my notes caught up, because I took a lot of notes, but a lot of it is not important. Okay, so now he's talking about the viewers saying, how did he feel being Alexis's second choice? And he said, because the viewers, we all clearly seen you were second. And he clearly, at this time in this interview, and have watched the show, cannot see that he was Alexis's second choice. He says, and this is when he starts repeating himself, he talks about being an alpha male, and he would never allow himself to be second. And that's pretty much what he just keeps repeating. And he keeps saying that off camera, him and Alexis had this great relationship. Then she asked, how did he feel about Alexis? Like, what did he feel about that blow up when they were at the campfire? He said, he said something boring, and he was still talking about being alpha male. Now, what did catch my interest is she asked, well, how did it get so aggressive between you and London when London, because he ushered Alexis away, because he said as a gentleman, he saw that Alexis was getting upset, and he ushered her away from that campfire blow up. And London said, hey, let me talk to you. He said, now we all heard Alexis say yes when London said, can I talk to you? He said he never heard Alexis say yes. That's why he got upset, because he felt like London was pressuring more conversation on Alexis, and he was trying to protect Alexis. And he said if he would have heard Alexis say yes to London at that time, he thinks the whole situation would have been different, because he said he would have excused himself. And I think maybe that's what didn't click for him. Like, if he would have heard Alexis say yes, would you have walked away from Alexis and finally see that you were second? I don't know. He continues to go talking about himself being the alpha male. And so now, oh, they talk about the dragging. And he said he was surprised to hear Alexis talk like that. He had never heard of that. And she said, okay, we're done with Alexis, okay? Because I'm telling you, Brent really ain't say that much. He said if there was anyone else on the show you would have given a chance, who would it have been? He did not want to answer that. She had to drag it out of him. Like, if it was anybody else on the show that you would want to give at least a second date, who would you want to take out on a second date? He said Divine. I felt like that was a cop-out. But he said he wished he would have at least took Divine on a second date because they only went on that one date. Okay, so next, they asked, well, where are you at now? Oh, I skipped the part where I was correct in what I said about the reunion, that they had a script. He said at the reunion, they were at a difficult place in their relationship. He said they had been arguing for a few days, a few weeks. He didn't really say. And he said, I wrote down that they said they were going to fake it. But no, he said at the reunion, they agreed that it was nobody's business where they were at currently in their relationship because they were working things out. And I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a TV dating show. And we done seen y'all do all this foolishness up into the committed relationship at the Ferris wheel or wherever y'all was at. What do you mean it's none of our business? This whole show, you put your relationship in our business. So yes, we want to know where you currently are. That's the whole point of the reunion. But anyway, he said him and Alexis agreed that they would both say that they were dating. Now, I always thought it was Brent who went off script. No, it was Alexis who went off script. He said he was thrown off when Alexis answered the question, when old girl in the back dress was like, are y'all together? And she said, yes, we're together. He said he was thrown off by that because they agreed before the reunion to say that they were dating, not that they were together. And Alexis went off script. But whatever. I mean, they agreed. They said they both agreed to at least have each other's back. And I took that to mean that Brent at least agreed to not make Alexis look stupid by saying they're not even together anymore and that they would say that they were dating, and it is what it is. He did say that that was pretty much it. Now, where are they at now? So Brent says him and Darren, which is a Sheamus man, I don't know if they still together or not, but have some kind of workout project and a workout tour. I guess they're going to have an app. It's called the Celebrity Fit Tour. And the app is going to have online workout instructions, nutritional guides, and they will be touring from city to city. The website, he said the website will be coming. If you want to have like a workout class with them, they're taking that on tour. That is Brent and Darren. And all you ladies, if you want to know, Brent said he is very single and he's not even dating. So there's nobody in the pool if you want to jump in. Hit him up in Atlanta. Okay, now let's get to Tondy because like I said, Brent wasn't about too much. Tondy, off rip, throughout my whole stack of notes. Tondy wants Mario back. Tondy still loves Mario. This whole interview sounds like a love outcry to Mario. And she at least, like, to me, Tondy, you didn't look stupid. This interview made me look at you a little bit differently. But at the reunion, Tondy, you didn't look stupid. You got your feelings hurt. They did some dirt to you, but you did not look stupid. You did not have to explain yourself. But let's jump into some of the things that Tondy said. Now, first off, they talked about, they kind of jumped into her relationship. How was the relationship with Mario? Was Mario controlling? Was that truly a red flag? And Tondy was like, no, that was not her experience with Mario. She said They had done plenty of activities together, and he's never controlling. And she said this interesting quote. She says, someone else's villain could be someone else's prince. And that's very true, because I've been in plenty of bad relationships that I don't care to discuss, but those people now have in turn got married and are wonderful to their significant others, and that just shows growth. Some people at some point in life may be a villain, they may be on some BS, but that doesn't mean they have to always stay there. So when they get to the next, or it could have been a couple of next in between. So that experience that the lady with the blue nails happened with Mario, that was not the experience that Tondy had. Okay. She also says she feels that Mario is attracted to fiery women, like women who, excuse me, let me put this down just a little bit. People who have big personalities, people who are kind of off the cuff like Tondy is. She says she noticed, I don't know if she says she noticed, but I guess some kind of way she know how his ex-wife is, and said that his ex-wife was kind of the same personality as herself. And she said she didn't understand why if the type of woman that Tondy is doesn't click for his personality, why is he so attracted to that type of woman? He crazy girl. But anyway, she said they dated for 3 months. I don't want to get into the timelines. I don't, because they even said the reunion was only 2 months after when they made the commitment. So where did 3 months come from? I don't care about the timeline. I feel how I feel. I feel like there was definitely overlap between Tondy and Riva. But let's just keep moving. So, Mario says he's a hard man to please. I don't care nothing about that. So let's talk about after the reunion. Like right after the director says, cut, reunion, it's a wrap. Right after the reunion, Tondy says Mario walked up to her and wanted to apologize and wanted to wrap his arms around her and embrace her and hug her, because I'm sure Tondy was clearly upset, and she says she rejected the hug. But she says she did agree to speak to Mario directly after the reunion. Like, what was up with all of this? It was, I believe Riva was not there because she didn't say nothing about Riva. She said at the conversation, though, a producer was present. So at this conversation, it was Tondy, Mario, and a producer. She did confirm that the producers, what Riva said was true, asked Mario not to tell Tondy about Riva before the reunion because they wanted the theatrics. Tondy said he did not have to agree. Just because a producer tell you or ask you to do something does not mean you have to oblige them. You don't have to do it. And Mario said so as well when he had first apologized to Tondy at the reunion. Like, I guess he instantly kind of felt like, I did something fucked up right here. Like, I don't know. This whole interview seems strange to me, but I guess they had a conversation right after reunion with the producers. So they also mentioned, I didn't know Mario had 3 daughters. Not that, that doesn't mean anything. That was just something Tondy said because they brought up the remark about her saying, you really want your daughters to see you doing this. And I already said in the past review, that was a good point to make. Now they go into Friendship Gate. I'm calling it Friendship Gate. Like, are y'all friends, associates? Who cares? Like, I don't think it's that serious of a scandal. Like, were you all really friends or not? But Tondy came with receipts. She came with receipts, and we're going to get into those later. And obviously, they don't view friendships the same. And Tondy did say we were not BFFs, but we rolled in the same circle. And I understand that. She said we had a mutual friend. We rolled in the same social circles. So she felt like if you're in that same circle, if one person's dating somebody, it would disrupt the circle if I hop on him and start dating him right after you dating him or at the same time. But it would disrupt the peacefulness of the circle. It would bring in drama of your friend group. And I agree with Tondy. Like, Angie right now at 40 would not do it. I would not do it. Well, one, I'm married, so. But if I was single right now, I'm not here for the drama. I would not do it. Now, and I believe they are around my age. So I agree with Tondy. But I'm not going to say, like, let's be real. Not everyone is innocent. Now, if they were in their 20s, I could see it happening. Like, you ain't really my friend. You my associate. And I want to date him. I get it, girl. But y'all are old. And I agree. Keep the drama out of the friend group. Do y'all think, that was a question I had. Do you think if you run in the same social circle, is there any girl code boundaries? Like, with your associates or just, but we're going to get into that because I do believe after seeing Tondy's receipts, they were much more friends than Reva led on to be. But I agree with Tondy and the host that just for the peace of the group, don't do it. Don't do it, Reva. But anyway, we passed that. And I said, oh. So Tondy starts talking about, you know, that trip they were supposed to be going on as friends. And she said, wait, that trip had nothing to do with my mutual friend. She did not go because she was in a relationship. She called it a thought trip. Thought, T-H-O-T. The whole trip, the slut trip. And she said all it was Reva trying to gather up a group of girls to go on a trip with a whole bunch of football players. I want to say to St. Martin, Jamaica, somewhere in the Caribbean. And she said she didn't want to go because she was not a thought. And what she gonna want to pay her money for to go hang out with some football players. If the football players really wanted the girls to come on the trip, they would have paid. Because she said Reva, as soon as, oh boy, I can't even think of the football. I was swinging my earring real good too, y'all. I'm gonna have to swing this one. But anyway, she said as soon as old boy asked Reva about coming out the country, the football player guy, and the host saw a picture of him, said he was fine. Reva bought her own ticket, and Tondy was like, wait, these ballers, they want to go out of town with us. They need to buy us the ticket, and I agree with you, Tondy. But anyway, let's keep it moving. Okay, I said question. Okay. Tondy said, because she called Reva a thought, the host said, well, did you show Mario all these text messages you want to show me? And Tondy said, yes. And Mario also saw Reva's text. But Mario said Reva looked like she deleted a lot of the text out of her text message. Now this all, I said question. When was this? Before the reunion? After? I don't understand why Mario needs to see this text thread if it's before the reunion, because Mario at this time is all into you and he don't care about Reva. So why do you have to prove anything? That's why this whole texting thing, and it was also something else she said. They brought up the text when Tondy said Reva texted her to watch out for Mario. Yes. And in that text, Tondy said she showed the text to Mario. And Mario was like, I can't believe Reva would say that about me. And so Tondy, on some Alexis bullshit, though I think Alexis lied, but she said she called Reva on speakerphone with Mario right there and asked Reva, you know, why should I have to watch out for Mario? And then Reva spilled her guts about how she felt like Mario was playing games, blah, blah, blah. And Mario was over here getting mad because he ain't snitch and be like, I'm on the phone, but he just hearing everything. And I'm like, really, Tondy? Really, Mario? Y'all putting Reva on the three-way? And I don't like Reva, so I don't really care that y'all did it. But it's so, the dynamic is so confusing to me because if this all happened before the show even ended and you done got on a speakerphone call hearing Reva dog you out, Why you go back to Reva? Like, I don't get it. I feel like all of this was done for a stunt. All three of them. Like, I don't get that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if one of my homegirls say, Angie, old boy was talking crap about you, and call him up and say, why you say that about Angie? And I'm listening silently on a speakerphone conversation of somebody dogging me out, I don't have no more interest in you. But Reva is the one who you wanted the whole time. I don't get that, but let's keep it moving. Like, I can't even believe people in their 40s still got to have these speakerphone conversations. Like, it's something sounds very producer set up-ish about this whole triangle the more and more they all speak about the triangle. But let's keep it moving because it still gets juicier. Okay. Tondy now wants to show receipts of Mario is still in her DMs, still on her Instagram, putting hearts and whatever emoji of someone sticking their tongue out all over her pictures. And Tondy is, I did look at Tondy's Instagram. Tondy, you are very sexy. You have that Atlanta thick, curvilicious body. I can see why Mario, but I mean, Reva is sexy too. So, but Instagram, I guess Reva is blocked. Because anybody could go on Instagram if Mario was doing dirt on your Instagram and see that he's still doing it. For him and Reva to still be together. But she had receipts, but I mean, that's not really hard receipts to find. Anybody can go on Instagram and see what Mario is doing. Now they go talking about the timeline again. I don't want to get into the timeline because in my mind, I don't care what none of them say. All of it's overlapping. All of it is overlapping. Like, I don't understand how they were together for 3 months. And if we go by the timeline of the reunion, they should have only been together for 6 weeks. I don't care, Tondy. He was cheating. Clearly, he was telling you one thing, telling Reva another thing on the show, cheating. I don't care. Okay. So Tondy is now talking about how hard this breakup was. Like, it really hit her hard. Now, I understand. Now, they talking about before the reunion. Before he did all the foolishness at the reunion. She said when they broke up, Mario called, said things weren't working out. And it was over. It was through. Tondy crazy self said she ain't believe it. So the next day, she called him up like she was still his woman having girlfriend conversations. And Mario had to tell her again the next day, Tondy, remember we talked about this. We are no longer together. And then she said, oh, okay, we not together. We broken up. Lord, child. Lord, child. You can't even tell when a man broke up with you. But she said it was so hard for her. And I'm like, really? After 3 months? Really after 6 weeks in my eyes, but I don't know what the time frame was. But really, Tondy, you were that heartbroken. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand young people falling in love fast and head over heels. That's what young people do. But I'm assuming Tondy is closer to my age. I don't want to say she over 40 if she ain't, but I'm assuming she's closer to my age. And I feel like in 3 months, you still dating. Even though y'all was on a reality TV show, y'all still getting to know each other. If he don't want to be with you, move on. Move on. But Tondy did not move on, y'all. Tondy did not move on. She said to this day, really, she said up until 2 weeks ago, which I believe Christmas was about 2 weeks ago, because Reva said clearly in her interview, her and Mario spent Christmas together, so they were still together during the holidays. She said up until 2 weeks ago, her and Mario were still in communication. And as in communication, he was still coming over to her house. We will get into that some more. Now she wants to talk about Genuine, and she did explain the situation where I didn't remember. I knew she was on a reality show because they did some kind of theater play, and her and Genuine was in it. I did not watch that reality show. I did not know her and Genuine dated, though. But she said her boo, she didn't say her boo. She said her ex-boyfriend, Genuine, what came into town. I thought maybe he don't live in Atlanta. And while he was in town, I guess he did a show and they hung out. She also said Reva was at the show. But anyway, and I guess at this time when Genuine came in town, mind you, Mario had already broken things off with Tondy. So apparently she was like, okay, my ex is in town. I'm just going to hang out with him. I'm support him at his show. And they took pictures. And, of course, she posted on social media. And I think I said that in my reunion review. She agreed that pissed Mario off. And she said she felt like seeing those pictures. Did she say she felt like? No, she said Mario told her that seeing those pictures is what pushed him to go to Reva. He couldn't have had told her that. He couldn't have had, unless he told her that after the foolishness of the reunion. Like, a lot of the back and forth of how she was answering these questions don't make sense. But she said she felt like that's what pushed him. Is it a stunt, y'all? Is this all a stunt? Tondy probably shouldn't have did this interview because it really makes me side-eye a lot of it. Okay, she said, now then she goes back into, they still in communication. He still comes over to her house, and the host is like, why is he coming over to your house? And I said, girl, that's just a code for them to have sex. And Tondy kind of knew what the host was saying, and she was like, no, the show was still previewing. So at the time, I ain't gonna go back into all the timelines, but at the time when he was still coming over our house, the show was coming on. Like, as we were watching the show, he would come over to Tondy's house and watch the show with Tondy because she said they wanted to relive. I don't understand why y'all gotta relive y'all relationship when you see it on TV if y'all broken up. Anyway, it turned out to really be cold for sex because the host wasn't with the shits. She pretty much was like, are you still fucking Mario? She didn't say that, but that's pretty much what she had to say. And I said, oh, Mario says to Tondy that he is just dating Reva. They aren't committed. So in Tondy's mind, she was still fucking him. They were still having sex. So yes, Mario was lying, telling both women, because obviously he was with Reva at the time, but he was telling Tondy he was just dating Reva. Dating, like, Tondy, why you want to be in the middle of that, girl? Even if he said he was just dating, you know he was with Reva and broke up with you. And you still, because see, I know, and that's very childish. That's 20-old-ish stuff. Because that's what, I mean, let's be woman to woman, subscribers to YouTuber. Let's be real for a second. It has been times in the 20s, not the 30s or the 40s, where, you know, a man has broken up with me with someone that I would have considered an associate, truly just a coworker, but we were cool, not close, we were just cool. And that hurts. It really hurts. And at the end of the day, I had to accept that it was a breakup. But what 20-year-olds do, they playing games. He's telling her one thing and telling me another, and making me feel like, well, he really want to be with her, and he kind of made a mistake. So here I am in my mind like, okay, well, I can get him back because he ain't really with her. It's really a mistake. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know he's still in some capacity fooling with her, but because she cheated with my man, I'm going to cheat with her man. You know, foolishness that 20-year-olds do. And at the end of the day, I mean, who cares? Who cares? And Tondy, I just feel like you're too old to be playing the game with yourself. Once Mario left you, and you knew in some capacity he was fooling with Reva, you should have never, ever gave him the pleasure of being with you sexually again. And she said it was just up until 2 weeks ago. Because let's skip through a bunch of this bullshit because, I said right here, Tondy, you a fool. You a fool. Because at the end of the day, did you not hear Divine? You gave this man your tongue and he just gave you his ass to kiss. You gave him more than a tongue though, Tondy. But I ain't mad at you, girl. I'm just saying you shouldn't have said it. Because to me, at the reunion, you were winning. Because they look like the fools for doing what they did to you. But in this interview, you still saying you sleeping with this man, knowing he's sleeping with Reva. That they ain't no celibate. He's sleeping with Reva, and you sleeping with this man, knowing he done already broke your heart. You now look the fool. I'm happy you stopped. But let's skip all that foolishness. Let's skip, let me see. Whatever, yeah, all that's foolishness. Cause she said, why girl, why you doing this? She said it was just a sexual. I don't care why you were doing it. Okay, I don't care nothing about that. At the end of the day, let me tell y'all when Tondy finally stopped. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, she stopped. And it's not that she decided to stop. It was that Mario finally, it wasn't 2 weeks ago Christmas, so maybe Mario finally told her, I'm committed to Reva. Me and Reva are in a committed relationship now, so I can't no longer fuck on you, Tondy. Stop cursing, Angie. I can no longer have sex with you, Tondy. I'm going to choose to only have sex with Reva now. So now you truly have lost the competition when you should have walked away from him at that reunion and never looked back. That kind of upsets me only because we too old for this. And we know now Reva got to come back and say something. Half of this I probably don't believe. Are you just saying a lot of this to make Reva upset? Because I just can't believe you will open yourself up so freely and sexually to a man that hurt you because you were still sleeping with him after you knew. This ain't even before you knew the reunion foolishness. After up to 2 weeks ago. Okay. Now we get into the text. And I'm not going to go through all the receipts, but when we get back to Friendship Gate, let's just say I now believe more of Tondy's side of the story. Like, if you listen to all the texts, they were more than just mutual friend texts. They were texts of Reva reaching out to Tondy on friendly basis, asking her to go on trips, asking her not to go to a brunch for her daughter, but asking her to hang out solo with their daughters, and calling each other baby girls and honey pies. And that's not something I do to my associates. And I don't reach out to my associate. Like, I personally don't have time to reach out to nobody but my friends. Like, it's hard. It's hard being grown, reaching out to people all the time. So I'm just going to say, after Tondy read all of her receipts, I do believe Tondy more in the Friendship Gate. But as I said, nobody cares about Friendship Gate, because even if you two were best friends, say you two were best friends and she pretty much stole your man, you was still sleeping with him after the fact. You still let that man have his cake, ice cream, cookies, potato chips, and eat all of it. You let him have it, eat it, and do everything else he wanted to do with it too. So, Tondy, so okay, what's next? What's next? Yes, she said as of 2 weeks ago, she was still sleeping with him. As of 2 weeks ago, I said that's a typical Atlanta man, and it is. It's typical. It's very typical of, and I ain't gonna just say Atlanta man. Some men will string two ladies along. And I guess around Christmas, he said, I gotta either pick Tondy or Reva, and he picked Reva. So maybe all the bullshit Mario was saying was true. Tondy really ain't for him. And maybe, I mean, I feel bad for you, Tondy, but I feel even worse after you did this interview, because I feel like you didn't make yourself look any better as you're self-righteously talking about still sleeping with Reva's man 2 weeks ago. You just made yourself look worse. I don't care. This show was good because we still talking about it. It been off. I can't wait for season 3. I know they're going to get a season 3 because it was good. And, you know, good luck to Reva and Mario. I mean, I know Reva going to have something to say after this because Tondy put all her business in the street. But, oh, well, it gave me something to talk about in these YouTube streets. All right, y'all, it's been long enough, and I have fun talking about it because you put your business out there, we gonna talk about it. This is Kiss My Cheeks TV. Please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all of y'all. And like this video, share it so everybody else can hear the tea. And again, that lady, her show's name is Let's Get Crystal Clear if you want to go out and hear the interview for yourself. Now, I can tell you now, you can skip Brent, but Tondy was spilling all the tea. Y'all have a good night. Bye.